if I do not shake your hand.
What role is Gunbreaker? Is it tank?
Yeah, it's a tank.
Okay.
Although, the best way to put it is that it's a DPS wearing a TF2 spy mask that has a blue shield on it.
Can it tank, or is it just useless as tank?
It absolutely can tank.
Mm-hmm.
The difference is that it has pretty much no card utility.
Okay.
So, like, Paladins have by far the most card utility.
Woohoo!
Warriors have a little bit less, but they've still got a decent amount. Dark Knights have less than that, but what they have is very good. Gunbreakers are like 50 DPS buttons for...
Fair.
I like how, like, unlike almost every...
So these are the fabled headquarters of the Scions. I confess I would have expected an order of self-proclaimed warrior scholars to surround themselves with the fruits of man's enlightenment. And yet there's not so much as a single piece of magitech in sight. It never ceases to amaze me how primitive you Eorzeans truly are.
Oh, I'll have you know that the Rising Stones is home to the very latest in Magitech innovation. Wedge calls it the Mark 14 Thermocoil Boil Master, and it's the finest kettle I've ever had the pleasure to own.
We are returned. Well, Ida and I, at least. Ishtola and the others remain behind to continue their assessment of the binding magic.
There didn't seem much point staying just for that, so I decided to come back with Alphino. Papalimo bought us this time. We shouldn't waste it.
By your leave!
Good God, that voice could fell a gigas.
This is the Rising Stones, domicile of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. I enter at the invitation of one Lord Urianger. I spy you there, Shadow Walker. You always were a hard one to find.
Yugiri, do you know this man?
Gosetsu? What?
In search of you, Yugiri. For days and nights did I row across the angry sea. I made port in good spirits, only for my own flesh to betray me over the trifling matter of an empty belly. Collapsed in the street like an unfed stray I was, until Lord Urianger came to my aid. Over a most welcome meal, we spoke of the plight of Doma, and I learned of our displaced countrymen's work to resettle this blighted land. 'Twas blind fortune that I was able to locate you so swiftly. But now we must make ready to depart. Our master languishes in dire peril, and Doma calls her daughter home.
It is not so simple, Gosetsu. There are obligations which bind me here.
You refuse? Did you mislay your oath during your flight from our homeland? The laws of hospitality must be honored, but surely the vow to defend your master demands the greater obeisance.
It was our master who bid me guide our people to safe haven by any means necessary. And it was the Scions you see before you who provided us succor and sanctuary when all others refused. Dire peril or no, were I to return without first repaying such hospitality, our master would cut me down at the threshold.
Mayhap that is so.
There is more. A crisis threatens all within this realm, Eorzean and Doman alike, and I go to play my part in its resolution. I will not bring shame upon our liege by abandoning my people or my duty.
How very noble of you. Now, in the name of honor, kinship, and, yes, practicality, might I suggest we get this expedition underway? Or would you rather debate the finer points of duty and leave Omega to the Empire?
The Empire? You, Giddy? You draw steel against the curse of Garlemald? Then why did you not say so? My blade is oath-bound to fall upon the ranks of the Imperials wheresoever they march. Lead on, Shadow Walker, and may the enemy tremble at our coming.
Now, where was that? Ah. I've enabled the teleporter. One brief jump and we shall arrive in Omega's control room.
How convenient. You've been here before.
Of course. It was no easy task threading a path through all the skirmishes. But how could I ignore the existence of such a fascinating toy? You may trust that my preliminary examination was suitably thorough.
Trust? Aye. I trust your appetite for technology.
I chased down a suspect airship, and who should I find but the traitor, Sid Garland. Searching for something, engineer? Something big? It's close, isn't it? It's like all my name days have come at once.
Of all the scouts the Empire could have sent. Take care of that brute, will you?
God damn it. Can't let Nero tinker around in there by himself. I'm sorry to leave you to it, but I dare say you'll manage without me. This clod has no idea who he's dealing with.
I am Gosetsu, Samurai of Doma. You will rue your choice of opponent this day.
This one'll sting. An opening.
'Tis my right to strike!
No holding back. No retreat. No surrender.
Look upon a samurai of Doma!
It's all over now. The defense is nothing.
With soul and steel!
You watching, Papalero? Leave this to me.
to me!
Look upon us, samurai of Doma!
You watching, Pavaliro?
No retreat! No surrender!
Tis my right to strike!
No holding back!
Your defense is nothing.
I have you!
This one'll sting.
An opening.
With soul and steel!
It's all over now.
Leave this to me.
Look upon us, samurai of Doma!
You watching, Pavaliro?
No retreat. No surrender.
Tis my right to strike!
No holding back!
Your defense is lacking.
This one'll sting.
An opening.
With soul and steel!
Temporal stasis disengaged. All systems operational. Garland?
All clear on this side. It's waking up.
Remarkable. Omega's sensors immediately detected the presence of the cocoon, even at this distance. They must have been set to scan for sources of energy exceeding certain magnitudes.
I still don't see any means to control the machine directly. It seems to have been designed to act wholly autonomously. Once we release Omega, we can be fairly certain it will attempt to capture the Primal at Belsar's Wall. Assuming its mission is successful, our only option at that point will be to re-engage its stasis system and put it back to sleep.
And should the machine happen to misbehave, we'll simply initiate an emergency shutdown. I confess we don't yet have a complete grasp of its capabilities, but I'm certain the details will not elude us for long.
Well, I understood less than half of that. So, my question to you is, are we doing the right thing? I suppose not. All right. Step aside, Sid. Is this the thing I need to press?
Yes, that's the one.
You gave too much for us to waste this chance, Papalimo. So this is for you. And me.
Yes! Fly free, my pretty! Show us what you can do.
The launch sequence has begun. Omega is loose. Omega has stopped transmitting. But that shouldn't be. I didn't engage the stasis system.
And what does this signify? I have little understanding of these contrivances.
The launch went exactly to plan, but all signals emanating from Omega have ceased. This may indicate any number of things, but we will need to join the Scions out in the field if we are to ascertain which one.
Right. I've ordered the malfunctioning beast to go to sleep. That should prevent any unfortunate mishaps. I suggest we make our way back to Gridania.
Omega destroyed the cocoon. Papalimo's spell is fading. It was bound to his ether, you see. And if the connection is broken...
My friends, I cannot well express how glad I am to see you both unharmed. They say that Omega's clash with the Primal shook the very firmament.
You need not have worried. The battle took place far above the ground. We were able to observe in relative safety, though I'm given to understand that there were casualties on the far side of the wall.
It was like watching a nightmare unfold before our very eyes. Ilberd's primal manifested in the form of a colossal dragon, a being of pure violence. It burst forth from the cocoon with such terrible force.
That such a horror should spring from the eyes of Nidhogg comes as no surprise. Nor do I wonder at its form. Ilberd all but announced it in the moments prior to his death. Plainly, it was his dying wish to visit a second calamity upon the Empire.
And I am quite certain the abomination would have obliged had it not found itself outmatched by Omega. Gods! I am no stranger to the works of Allag, but even I was unprepared for the machine's furiosity. It beggared belief.
And how fares poor Ida in the midst of all this? Have you spoken with her?
She is up on the platform, lost in thought. We deemed it best not to disturb her, but mayhap she would welcome some company after all. Shall we?
The light's gone. It was all we had left of him.
Ida.
I don't blame anyone. I knew what was going to happen. I knew the spell Papalimo meant to cast would drain away his life force. I knew that it would only buy us a little time.
Ida, there is no need to explain.
But there is. I can't hide in Papalimo's little shadow anymore, and I shouldn't hide behind my sister's mask. 20 years ago, on the day the Empire marched into Alamigo, I was still just a child, not even 5 summers old. My father had been one of the leaders of the revolution. He had fought to overthrow the Mad King, Theodoric. And my sister had fought alongside him. She was strong and kind, and always knew what to do. But when the Garleans came, everything changed. My father went to war against them too, and I never saw him again. After that, I remember a lot of running. My sister dragged me for malms and malms until we came to the city of Sharlayan. That was where she met Master Louis Soir. He introduced her to the Circle of Knowing, and she eventually became an Archon.
She was your inspiration. Is that not why you took up her mask and her name? Or did you simply mean to continue what she had started?
You've known all along, haven't you? That I wasn't Ida.
Of course. We all recognized you at once. 'Twas Papalimo who persuaded us to maintain the charade.
It was silly to think I could fool you. I knew that even then, but I sort of decided not to know. Ida died 6 years ago, on a mission to smuggle refugees out of Alamigo. They say she was overwhelmed by Imperial soldiers when she stayed behind to save a little girl. She was so strong. There must have been a lot of them. I'm sorry for lying to you. My real name is Lise. When Papalimo brought me Ida's mask, it was meant as a keepsake, but I decided I wanted to be his new partner, to keep alive all the good that she had done. I didn't want to become Ida, exactly. At the time, though, I still didn't know who I was myself, and it almost seemed easier to play the role. Papalimo agreed to help, of course, but it was never what he wanted for me. He wanted me to walk my own path, and those were his final words to me. The Archon's mark he gave me is faded, and my last excuse along with it. So this is it. Whatever I choose to do from now on, I do as Lise. And I choose to continue my family's fight. I want Alamigo to be the country that Ida and my father always wanted it to be.
War is upon us once more.
Do you regret standing against the Empire? Would you have chosen a different road, knowing what you know now?
To claim that I never doubted the decision would be a lie. But I made my choice, and I have defended it with blade in hand ever since.
The battle continues, and our steel is needed. Come, Shadow Walker, we leave for the east, for Doma.
you